Hello, my name is Giovanni Cardenas, and today I will be doing my presentation on eating disorders and body image. The reason I chose this was mainly because when I was going through the chapters this semester, I think this is one of the topics that really stood out to me. I think there's a lot of valuable information, and I really think there's a lot you can learn out of me explaining what this is. Um, there's no doubt that when I went over this chapter and was reading section by section, um, I really learned a lot that I didn't know before. Yeah, I might have known what maybe anorexia was, but I didn't know details about it. I didn't know statistics about it. And in this presentation, I will be covering that. I will be covering what an eating disorder is, the types, what causes eating disorders, and even how to prevent them. So the first one is, what is an eating disorder? If you don't know what an eating disorder is, so the definition is basically a psychological illness that is characterized by a specific abnormal eating behaviors, and this is often intended to control your weight. And so eating disorders, they affect physical and nutritional health and psychosocial functioning, and if they aren't treated, they can really be fatal. Um, but of course, further in this presentation, I will be talking about how you can prevent it, and this can even be treated. Um, there's three types of eating disorders, and there's anorexia nervosa. This is one that can be this is an eating disorder that can be characterized by self-starvation. Um, Anorexia nervosa is a distorted body image, and it's having abnormal lower body weight and a pathological fear of becoming fat. So these people basically really fear the idea of them becoming fat. Anorexia is actually the word actually means lack of appetite, but in this case, it's being used to a desire to be thin, and 3.7% of women are affected by this in their lifetime. I think that's too much for a woman to be worrying about trying to be too thin. Um, there's a 5% death rate in the first 2 years. If in the first 2 years it isn't treated, the death rate can increase to 20. So that's really bad. And bulimia nervosa, that it's an eating disorder that is characterized by large consumptions of food at one time, and then followed by purging behaviors such as self-induced vomiting to prevent gaining weight. So the reason this is hazardous is because of the vomiting portion. When you eat and then you vomit right away, uh, this brings stomach acid into your mouth, and the reason why this is bad is it can cause tooth decay, it can cause sores in the mouth and on the lips. It can cause swelling of the jaw and salivary glands, and irritation on the throat, esophagus. It can even affect changes in the stomach capacity. So either you won't be able to your stomach won't be able to retain that much food, so you won't be eating healthy. You won't be eating the amount of nutrients your body needs, and this will also affect your rate of emptying. So it affects your um, small and large intestines when needing to go to the restroom and all that stuff. The last eating disorder is binge eating disorder, and this is characterized by recurrent episodes of binge eating accompanied by loss of control over eating in the absence of purging behavior. So this is the most common eating disorder. Uh, this is one of the most common. Unlike the other ones, men actually play a big part in this one. 40% of men uh, struggle with this eating disorder, and the problem with this is that there are health risks. A lot of athletes like to binge eat in order to make a certain weight. So you can find this in wrestling. You can find this in any type of sports where you're trying to gain weight, or maybe even where you're trying to gain weight. And so the bad thing about this is the health risks are obesity, diabetes can come from this, high blood pressure, high blood cholesterol levels. You can even have gallbladder disease, heart disease, and there are even certain types of cancers that are linked to binge eating disorders. So, if you're wondering what causes eating disorders, there are three main causes, and the first one is genetic. So, for example, you inherit certain personality traits. It, basically, yeah, your personality traits. Another ones are genes that affect hunger. Believe it or not, you do have genes in your body that do affect hunger, and also genes that affect body weight as well. Psychological, you got psychological includes low self-esteem, need for self-control, and healthy body image. Your mind just thinks that if you don't have a good self-control, you're going to be eating too much, eating too little. Uh, Social cultural is a thin body idea. For example, you think you need to be thin, or the influences of media and family and friends. If you media plays a big role in, for example, there's a Victoria's Secret fashion show. A bunch of women want to look like that, and so they begin to vomit when they eat just to achieve that body style. Also, an abundant food supply. If you come from a family that always has a bunch of munchies and snacks in their pantry, well, then you might be in risk for obesity. There's a couple ways to prevent this. So one way is that if you are around people that criticize you, you can eliminate the criticism. You can stop the media influence, quit believing what the media tells you, and also you can educate yourself. Educate yourself on these eating disorders, so that you no longer are oblivious to what these things are, and you can realize how bad they are for your health. Thank you for watching.